Hello, everyone. We are live.
We are live. This is Daniel Jacob Horine, owner and author creator of PopFlyPopShop.com. And over here, 18-time All-Star, 16-time Gold Glove. Yes, I said 16. Two-time World Series champion, MVP, Hall of Famer, greatest defensive third baseman of all time. And folks, it ain't even close to who's number two. Brooks Robinson. Say hello, Brooks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm happy to be on tonight with you.
Oh, we are happy to be with you. Maybe you're a fan of Brooks and you have no idea what Pop Fly Pop Shop is. It is a once-a-week comic book style cover art. It is only available until this Sunday, and it is retired forever. Daniel, can you go ahead and bring it up?
You got it.
So this is Brooks, the human vacuum cleaner. It is only available until this Sunday, and then it is retired forever. There is an autograph option. And if you would like to ask Brooks a question, just go ahead and submit that in the chat. And if we get to your question, you will get a giveaway from Pop Fly Pop Shop. But Brooks, I'd love to right off the bat just get your immediate reaction to seeing yourself basically on a comic book cover.
Well, I think it's wonderful. It looks great. You made me look good. But yeah, I love it. I really do. It's going to be interesting, really.
Thank you.
Now, I was looking at your age, Brooks, and Batman and Superman came out like in the late 30s, early 40s, and so in your childhood, when those were taken off, did you get into comic books at all?
Oh yeah, I was swapping comic books all the time with my neighbor named Jimmy Heffley back in Little Rock, but we swapped, comic books quite a bit.
What were some of the titles you were into?
Oh, Dick Tracy, Henry Aldridge, the two of them. Let me see, what else? Well, that's the two that come to mind right away.
Well, if we could show that cover again. Daniel, can you explain this a little bit? What I'm perceiving is Brooks is a superhero, and his glove has some suction radar that is just he's kind of cheating, basically. He's just is that what's happening?
See, I imagine Brooks, the human vacuum cleaner, his magic hands and that magic glove is so powerful. It not only sucks up any ball in the infield, but anything in the front rows as well. So no one's hot dog is safe. No one's popcorn is safe if you're in the front row at an Orioles game.
Did you pick up on that, Brooks?
You know who put that moniker on me, the human vacuum cleaner, was Lee May. And I played against him in the World Series in 1970. And about 2 years later, he came to Baltimore. And he said, Robinson, you know what? No one would ever heard of you if I hadn't hit those balls to you. It was quite a World Series, and once in a lifetime. I mean, you don't plan those things, it just happens. And I know the year before I got one hit against the Mets. And I got a few in this one here and made a good play and was the MVP, and I was thrilled about that.
I like how he casually says, I got a few hits. And by that, you mean you hit 429 and 2 home runs in 5 games.
Well, thank you. That was quite a series, and I enjoyed it. I was in 4, the 2 were supposed to win. We lost, the 2 were supposed to lose. We won, so it evens out, but it's a thrill just playing in a World Series. I know when I was growing up, I was in the 8th grade, and I wrote a booklet called My Vocation, of what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I said I wanted to be a professional baseball player. And I had to put the hours in there and pictures. And there was one I saw in a book called The Piggyback Putout. The guy was jumping over the player at second base, sliding in and making the play. But little did I realize that my dream would come true. I never wanted to do anything else except be a professional baseball player and make it to the major leagues. I mean, you think about, signing a contract, playing in the major leagues, and getting to the big leagues and winning the World Series in '66 against the Dodgers. That was a big thrill, believe me. And I can remember saying after that World Series, I don't care if I ever get in one again. We did it, and that was what it's all about. But, you win your first one, you want to get back in there.
Wow. We were talking to Brooks Robinson, Hall of Famer, greatest third baseman of all time. Daniel, if you could pull up the print again, and I'd like you to restate it, because if I'm hearing you right, so his glove is sucking the ball, but because it's so powerful, fans, they're losing their popcorn and their souvenirs. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, I imagine there's some fans there in the front row with some Brooks Robinson's cards and getting those sucked up as well.
That's brilliant. I thought Brooks was playing in New York and they were throwing hot dogs at him.
No, he's the all-powerful human vacuum cleaner.
Daniel, can you share those quotes and like what resonated with you and where did you get these from?
Brooks, I believe that was in your autobiography, but I love the quote, and it's probably one of my favorite quotes that I put on here was on any of these pop flies. But the statement was, even though the bat might speak the loudest, oftentimes the glove gets the final word. And I love that statement, that confidence, that even though there's something louder, your power can give the last word. And that was just such a great quote, and it really lends itself to this kind of storytelling. I love it.
Yeah, well, thank you. No, I've had always been able to field. I do everything left-handed, but I had the glove on the left hand, but I threw right-handed. So I was a little ambidextrous, and I think that really helped me as a fielder, doing everything left-handed.
Wow. Let's continue to talk about your fielding. I'm a sucker and a romantic for fielding. I know the commercial in the 90s that chicks love the long ball. I just love slick fielding, infielders especially. Brooks, are you familiar with the analytic called WAR, where they try to rate defensiveness? Have you heard of that?
Yes, I have.
I know defensiveness is very hard to categorize on a piece of paper, is it not?
Oh, I don't know. I just know about it, but I don't know how to characterize it. I was at the Gold Glove Awards in New York about 2 years ago or 3 years, and Arenado was there, and he won the Gold Glove. He's a terrific player, great fielder, but he had a WAR that was number one. And when I got off the stage, someone walked up to me and said, your WAR was better. And I said, "Ooh, that's nice." I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
I do see that on.
Well, fielding percentage is not very good because if you don't get to the ball, you're not penalized. And you were able to get to balls that no one else could even get to. So for all time, every position, Brooks, you're rated the number 3 defender. Number 1 is Ozzie Smith. Can you guess who number 2 is? I'll give you a hint. It's a former teammate of yours.
Really?
Yes.
Belanger? That right?
Yes.
Well, he was terrific. I tell you, I played with Aparicio and I played with Belanger, and they don't get any better than that. And those two guys, but I'm happy for Mark. He passed away at age 54, and I really miss him a lot. His wife is still here in town, ex-wife, I guess. But anyway, I think of him a lot.
I mean, think about this, fans of the history of baseball. The number 2 and 3 best fielding athletes of all time played short and third together for like a decade. That blows my mind. That had to have been a blast.
Well, I tell you, we had Davy Johnson at second, was pretty good. And then the big guy at first base, Boog Powell, he always said, "I'm going to have some of your Gold Glove." I saved you 25 errors, I know. When I said, "Boog, just get in front of him and knock him down and pick him up." And he did that.
Well, Brooks, today in baseball, we have all kinds of crazy shifts going on. Third baseman's playing in shallow right field. Where did you decide where to go? Was that all on you? Did you shift wherever you wanted? How much freedom did you have?
Well, third basemen don't move around that a lot. And, I just kind of played off the fastball. And if Palmer was going through a curve and he had a big overhand slow curve, well, I might move a step one way or the other. But third basemen don't move. I hated people to bunt on me, and I'd shorten up with those guys that bunt a little, but I didn't move around too much.
How would you read what the pitch is, and how would you make sure you didn't give it away to the hitter?
Well, Belanger would tell me, be alive, and what we had something like that. Be alive, Brooks. I know it's going to be a straight chain or a breaking ball, and that's how we communicated.
Wow. Well, we are here live with Daniel Horine, creator and designer of Pop Fly Pop Shop. We have Brooke Robinson, the Hall of Famer. If you could show that print again, Daniel. This is retired on Sunday forever. So to get it, just reserve your copy by going to popflypopshop.com. There is an autograph option, which, hey, Hall of Famer, get the autograph option. Don't play it slick. Daniel, talk about the two silhouettes that you put on there. Where did you get those from, and why did you decide to just have as many poses as possible?
Just when I think about well, the name like the human vacuum cleaner, it's obviously a defensive name, and it's like when you look on the internet, search Brooks Robinson, about half the pictures are a leaping catch, catching the ball, and so just it seemed very, very just iconic, and it reminded me almost like a superhero pose. If you would imagine a silhouette of Superman flying through the air, it looks almost exactly like Brooks Robinson leaping for that line drive.
I love it. Now, Brooks, we've talked about your defense this whole time, and I mean, let's not get cute. You have over 2,800 hits. It's not like you were a glove-only guy. Do you ever feel like your hitting gets minimized because of how good your fielding was?
Well, probably because I had a batting average around 270, but, I didn't think much of that. Starting out in the Major League Baseball, I got a chance very early with the Orioles because they were a bad team. They came to Baltimore in '54. They lost 100 games. I signed right out of high school. The day I graduated, I signed the next day with the Oriole for a monstrous $4,000. And and I headed to Baltimore, and I took a trip with the Orioles, but I couldn't play. But I went to York, PA, and Paul Richards, my manager, said, "Look, if you do have a good year, I'll bring you back here and let you play." So I did very well at York, PA. Came back to Baltimore, and I got to play in 5 or 6 Oriole games, and I got 2 for 4 the first day. And boy, I felt like this is my cup of tea. I called home and talked to my mother and father. Anyway, I went 0 for 18 the rest of the year, and I learned a lesson right there that it was not going to be easy.
I coach my kids' little league team, and constantly what I tell them is, you guys, baseball's hard.
And I opened the season with them in '57.
Wow.
And about 2 weeks into the season, I had a knee operation. I hurt my knee going to first base. I tore a cartilage, and I was out some. Then when I got well, went back to San Antonio for a while and came back. Then in '58, I played the whole year. Never really distinguished myself, but I was about to get drafted for 2 years, and they had this program where you could go six months active duty, 5.5 years in reserve. So I went in the Arkansas National Guard. I went down to Fort Chaffee for my basic and to Fort Hood for the other 4 months. Got out right when the season started, and I was there about 2 weeks, playing in and out. And he said, "Well, I'm going to send you to Vancouver," which was our AAA team, "and I'll bring you back. Just go get in shape and come back." And I went out there and played for about a month and a half. And when I came back, I was like a different player. I mean, I felt like I was stronger, and I ended up doing very well at the end of that year. And then in 1960, we had our best year. We had Ronnie Hansen was a rookie, came up from Vancouver. We had Chuck Estrada, Wes Stock, Buddy Barker came along. So we had a lot of guys come up then, and we almost won the championship that year. New York came in here 4 games ahead of us, or 3 games ahead of us, and something like that. But we won 3 in a row, and we went away tied up. And then 2 weeks later, we went to New York, and we lost 4 in a row, and that was it. But it was a terrific year for the Orioles.
Now, obviously, you had your whole career in Baltimore. Are you still involved with the Orioles? You still follow them?
Oh, yeah, I follow them. I do some things for them, and not much, but I'm around, and I get involved in a few of the projects that they have.
Can I ask your baseball opinion on them letting Machado go? Do you think that was the right move for the franchise, or is that a marquee guy they should have kept?
I knew he was going to be one terrific player. It was just the fact that they got 4 or 5 guys for him, I think, from Los Angeles Dodgers. And I don't know how those guys are doing. But I guess Mike Elias, the general manager, said, look, we're starting from the bottom. And they've been signing a lot of outstanding prospects. And I think you'll see the Orioles competing in the next year or 2.
You know, I hope so, because baseball is always better when the Orioles are in contention. Baseball's better when it's like that. Hey, Daniel, do we have any fan questions that you'd like to get to?
Sure. There's a couple, and we'll start with Joe Torrey. Now, there's a couple questions about your sawed-off helmet, Brooks. Is it true? Did you saw off the helmet? And one person's asking about your ear flap. Did you saw off your ear flap? Or another person's asking about your visor. So what did you do to your helmet, and why did you do it?
Well, I just felt like the hat was impairing me. I mean, the bill seemed like it was normal, a lot longer than normal, and I sawed it off about like that, and then the flap came out. And, I said, I got to saw this off too. So I took a hacksaw blade the first time, and I got rid of that, the half. But I needed all the protection I could get, believe me. I got hit a couple of times in the head, and Phil Necro with a knuckleball. I guess I was looking for his 55 or 60 mile an hour fastball. And he hit me with the knuckleball, and then Steve Glass hit me in Florida. And that scares you to death, but you just got to get up and go and do it.
That's fascinating. Especially of that era too. You had a lot of guys. I'm thinking back to Dave Parker, to Ellis Valentine, who also made modifications to their helmets as well. This is kind of what they felt they needed to do to have an edge to play the game. There is another question here I thought was interesting. I don't see who it is, but they're asking who else should be in the Hall of Fame, Brooks, that isn't there now?
I don't think about it that much. Guys like Bonds and Pete Rose have had their chance to get in, and they're not going to get in, and that's fine with me. Who else? I'm not really sure. My wife thinks Boog Powell should be in.
Awesome. Well, that's the end of the questions, Mr. Edmond.
Awesome. Let's show that print one more time. And so you can get one of these on your own, reserve your copy, only available until Sunday. And then after that, you have to pay exorbitant secondhand prices. Go to popflypopshop.com. This is the human vacuum cleaner, Hall of Famer Brooks Robinson. You can have him with his magical superpower gloves, sucking the ball in, along with popcorn and peanuts and hot dogs and souvenirs from all those fans in the front row as he is doing his deal. We've talked a lot about greatest third baseman of all time. Don't sleep on his 2,800 plus hits, his World Series MVP performance. Brooks Robinson, thank you so much for sharing this time with us. Do you have any last words for either Daniel or your fans?
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed being with you, and we'll do it again.
Awesome. Hall of Famer Brooks Robinson, thank you so much for your career and your time and your humility, which is so obvious and bright.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wowzers. So Daniel, how did Brooks get up on your radar?
Well, even as a kid, I remember when you and I were kids, you know, we were getting into collecting 10 years after he played his last game, but he was still, even at that time, I think he was already a legend even then when we were young, you know, so he's always been on my mind. And then when it came time to do this project, I mean, there are some players that have nicknames that are like made for this project, you know, and the human vacuum cleaner, Mr. Hoover, there's no better comic book ready name than that.
He's clearly a hero too in your depiction. I love the sort of the Aquaman looking sonar thing.
Yeah, it's hard to communicate suction. It's easy to make things explode out, but it's harder to make things look like they're being vacuumed in.
You know, on that note, if you could show your print again, I was really drawn into your font. Can you talk about your font and what you're doing there on the vacuum cleaner?
Sure. So that is like a classic-esque comic book font. But like I mentioned, it's hard. Like suction is kind of harder to communicate than kind of explosion. And so I've got that inward spiral drawing in, but I also wanted the title to look like it's being contracted and squeezing in. So any visual cues that I could do to make it look like it's being drawn in. And that font is exactly trying to communicate that as well.
Yeah, so his glove is literally disrupting the cover.
That's true. As one of my former bosses would say, you feel it more than you see it.
Oh,
so you might not realize that's what's happening, but hopefully all this works kind of in a symphony to kind of communicate the idea.
Yeah, I feel it definitely. Some self-disclosure, humility for me right now. I had not even heard of Mark Bellinger before this. I was perusing defensive stats of all time, and I'm like, who the heck is this guy number 2 on the list? And find out, oh, he played the same era right next to Brooks. And maybe it's because of Cal Ripken. I came up during that era. Mm-hmm. And so, hey, Oriole shortstops, it all goes to Cal. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that reality where the number 2 and 3 greatest defensive players of all time are playing short and third next to each other, relaying signs back and forth. That is amazing.
That is amazing. I love too when Brooks was saying, you know, how he would help, like, kind of, you know, help call what the pitches were going to be. That's why they're professional baseball players, and just that level of play is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, try to play that out. If you're the shortstop, so you're peeking in on the sign, somehow you're relaying it to the third baseman so that you can position yourself on what you think will happen, but you have to do it so late where the batter doesn't pick up on it.
Yeah.
That's an art. That's where you're just sitting in the stands. You don't pick up on all those idiosyncrasies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're talking and not playing baseball.
There's a million reasons why I'm not playing baseball.
But you are drawing it, and this is a good one. Popflypopshot.com, only available until Sunday. Get your human vacuum cleaner. You're obviously, you have a soft spot for the bullpen guy.
Oh, yeah.
Are you a softie for the Gold Glove slick fielder as well?
I am, and someone used this language too, and I really appreciate it. Is that baseball is such a cinematic sport, and I never thought about it in that way. But the almost the ballet of the especially this, particularly the infield. You know, that delicate ballet of a second baseman, you know, jumping over the runner, turning two, you know, or the quick like turnaround of a shortstop or the dive of a third baseman. I just love that, and I think as a kid those nuances were lost on me. But diving into this project and thinking about baseball in a very visual way, I've just really fallen in love with the characters of the bullpen and the ballet of the infield.
Shortstop, I feel like it's changed so much. Where pre-Ripken, it was almost like we don't really care what the shortstop hits. They kind of batted eighth. As long as they were great fielders, that was good enough. And then all of a sudden you get a freak who's hitting 30, 40 home runs, and then A-Rod kind of continued that. So what do you do, Daniel? You're the GM. Do you want the shortstop who's going to hit 220 but is going to field everything? Or do you want the maybe butcher of a glove, not the ballet, but the guy who's going to hit 35 bombs?
Oh, I pick the former in a heartbeat. You know, I would choose defense 7 days a week.
And if I'll throw it out to the Pop Fly fandom, give me a shortstop today that is that modern day vacuum cleaner. I'll go Andrelton Simmons, now on the Cubs, former Brave, former Angel. Who's your shortstop? If you're a GM, do you want the home run hitter, or what fielding shortstop would you grab?
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Someone's Atlanta Brave, Dansby Swanson.
That's a great pick, and man, his bat is actually, there's glimpses of he might be more than that.
He has his moments. You know, you're speaking to a Braves guy.
Take it away.
Yeah, no, he has his moments, and in terms of the bat, but he's just a consistent and likable dude. I don't know how many points that counts for, but just a great likable guy. Matt Chapman, Joe Torre says Tommy Shaft says Carlos Correa.
Oh yeah, he can do it all. Yeah, good. Chapman's third, I think. Any shortstop or third base? Yeah. Anyone else out there? I'm going to stick with Simmons. I wonder. Beltre should get in the Hall of Fame. He's the guy. Someone asked Brooks. Beltre is probably the closest modern day guy that would remind me of Brooks a little bit.
I like it. He's being a Braves fan, but a Dodgers is my spiritual fan. I do love Justin Turner.
Did you see his play the other day?
No.
I know Joe Torre did. It was amazing. I believe it was the extra innings. There was a runner on third against the Phillies. Everyone, if you haven't seen this, you need to look it up after this is done. Ground ball to short, runner goes to third. Batter is safe at first on the grounder. First baseman chucks it to third, and Turner feints, missing the ball, and starts running towards like the outfield to chase the ball, and immediately turns around and tags the runner out.
That is why they're playing professional baseball, and we are not.
It was unbelievable. Philly still won the game, but but look that play up. That was a banger.
I like to think about losing games like a Star Wars movies. You know, they're not great movies, but they have great moments. You know, even if we lose, you know, we still have those great moments.
That might be one of the moments of the year. But transition, the moment of your week will be when you go to popflypopshot.com, and before Sunday and this print is retired, get your human vacuum cleaner, Hall of Famer Brooks Robinson, get the signature. This is one of those keepers. This one deserves to be displayed somewhere great. Daniel, I've been watching as a fan of the football stuff going on. Do you have any updates on the football universe of Popfly?
Right now, I don't have it here to show, but this week is a legendary running back for the Minnesota Vikings, Chuck Foreman, also known as the Spin Doctor. Now, not because he wrote Two Princes, but because he would spin around like a whirling dervish to avoid his opponents. So, and getting to work directly with Chuck on this one, Chuck was part of the creation process of this. That was a blast. And I love that nickname.
And how long is that one available for?
That one goes for another week and change. I believe it's retired on June the 5th.
So go to popflypopshop.com, get your Robinson one, check out the Spin Doctor. Prince is here before you. That's what he said now. Hey, I noticed this, and maybe this will be my last thought of the day, is this day in history in baseball. And let me throw this one out to you and get your reaction. In 1977, an 18-year-old Ricky Henderson in minor league ball in this game stole 15 bases in one game.
One game?
One game, stole 15 bags.
I don't know who that speaks more about, his opponent or him. You know, after maybe 3 bases, you should be, maybe on your guard.
Stole 15 bags in one game, and sure enough, he would become a Hall of Famer in his own right. Well, Daniel, thank you for your art and your time today. Thanks for bringing Brooks Robinson front and center and teaching us all something that, man, we had a shortstop and a third baseman that were 2 of the 3 best of all time playing in one era. I love that Oriole hat, and I agree with Brooks. When the Orioles are doing good, that is better for baseball as a whole. Any last words for all of us, Daniel?
Nothing specific, but thanks for following along. Thanks for taking chances with me, and this is a whole lot of fun. And we've got release number 100. Gosh, coming up in a bit.
Anything special that any bells and whistles that are come along with that?
That's what we're trying to think about right now. What would make a good 100th release? It's got to be something.
You can't just do a lefty specialist. You got to do something big.
Yeah, certainly on our minds. Nothing planned yet, but behind the scenes, we're thinking about what that could be.
All right. Well, thank you all. Thanks for letting me be a part of the Pop Fly universe. Get your Brooks before it's retired. See y'all soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.